is NBC4 News at 6.
And we begin tonight at 6 o'clock with an NBC4 I-Team exclusive. The Medical Board of California says its mission is to protect patients with proper licensing and regulation of doctors. But patient advocates have long argued that's not what's happening in this state. A year ago, one member of the board filed a whistleblower complaint. And now he's talking on camera about what he believes needs to be done to change things. Good evening. I'm Chuck Henry.
And I'm Carolyn Johnson. Patient advocates say the medical board is shrouded in secrecy, with the average investigation taking 3 to 4 years while doctors continue to practice. But now patients have a powerful ally on their side, a member of the board determined to shake things up and give patients the protection they say they're lacking.
Really bad things are happening under our watch. And what are we going to do?
For the past 3 years, TJ Watkins, a strength trainer and life coach, has served as a public member of the Medical Board of California. He's listened, he's learned, he's spoken up.
Was this the best way for us to solve that problem?
But he says he is troubled by what he's witnessed.
We preach public protection, but everything we do is doctor protection.
Watkins says of the 10,000 or so complaints filed by patients every year, only a small fraction of those are actually investigated. And according to the board's published annual reports, just 1.4% of complaints lead to discipline with probation, and less than half of 1% result in the revocation of a doctor's license.
Those are ridiculous numbers, no matter what industry you are in. A great number of them get dismissed because we accept the doctor's rebuttal statement without consulting the patient that was harmed in the first place.
Watkins points to the board's own enforcement statistics over the past 15 years.
Your kid could have died. Your spouse could have died in the process. You could have been maimed and be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You will have a 1.4% chance that it will actually lead to probation. These are the facts.
He says the doctor majority board is operating in its own bubble, accepting these numbers as the norm.
I'm here because that bubble is costing people's lives right now.
Watkins wants to see a process that's robust, transparent, and accountable, where fair and consistent disciplinary guidelines serve as a deterrent. And when we talk about the punishments that a doctor might face, have you also noted that they're not even what they're supposed to be?
Yes, the deviation from the disciplinary guidelines. It's like 90% of the time.
And he says the board only has access to memos written by the Attorney General's office, which essentially summarize a case.
I don't get to see, as a board member, the investigation report. I don't get to see the expert report. I only get the Attorney General's, the Deputy Attorney General's interpretation of those documents.
He claims 99% of the time, the board then accepts the decision or settlement reached by the Deputy Attorney General.
The public, the complainant, has zero legal right.
From the moment they file a complaint?
The moment they file a complaint, that rights disappear.
In fact, by law, patients are not allowed to give a statement to the board until after their case is decided.
The people that are really hurt will never hear from them. The brave patient advocates and people that call into that medical board, they are the tip of the iceberg.
The Attorney General's office did not respond to the I-Team's request for comment, but the medical board told us in part it has requested statutory changes to provide the board with additional finance and legal resources, but notes if the board is not provided or cannot discover clear and convincing evidence that a physician has violated the Medical Practice Act, then the board must close the case. The board must follow the law when considering whether to discipline a licensee for unprofessional conduct, and quotes the Business and Professions Code, which states the board shall, whenever possible, take action that is calculated to aid in the rehabilitation of the licensee.
Let's be very clear about what disciplinary guidelines say. Rehabilitation should be considered if the public protection part is not at risk. The public protection element trumps the rehabilitation.
Now Watson is teaming up with patient advocates to create what he calls the Accountability Act, a 14-point plan outlining legislative changes to the board, changes he describes as protecting the public and reforming this unequal, unjust, and unfair system.
I don't hear anybody talking about what the patients are going through during this process. We're doing an awful job.
Now, the first in-person board meeting since the pandemic began takes place this Thursday and Friday at the Hyatt Regency LAX. But you can also dial in to listen and make comments. You'll find details on how to do that, along with TJ Watkins' Accountability Act, on our website, NBCLA.com. Just search Medical Board.